Hi and welcome to this Q&A video where Amanda and I are going to be answering your nap time questions. We asked our free sleep community what was their burning baby or toddler nap question, and we're going to answer a handful of them for you today. So the first one is from Stephanie. She says, what is the average sleep duration of a nap for a 4-month-old? My 4-month-old baby naps 4 times a day for about 30 minutes. I cannot get him to nap longer. He doesn't sleep through the night. He's up anywhere from 3 to 6 times. What is developmentally appropriate for this stage of life? So I guess we're sort of talking in general there about naps for a 4-month-old.
Yeah, I guess a couple of things there. At 4 months I would want at least one sleep to be longer than one sleep cycle to be able to start consolidating those sleeps during the day. 30 minutes is per nap. For every single nap is too short. The middle nap of the day or the first nap of the day needs to be much longer than 30 minutes to make sure that developmentally that the baby is getting enough sleep. There's probably a couple of reasons as to why the baby's only sleeping that long.
Yeah, and it's important to note that that is a normal sleep pattern coming into the 4-month sleep progression, where sleep cycles become a lot more differentiated. So babies definitely start waking up completely at the end of a sleep cycle, which can be 35 to 45 minutes in length. So clearly the baby's only sleeping for one sleep cycle at a time, and yeah, you'd want to start looking at ways you can extend that. Otherwise you are going to be stuck in a 30-minute nap cycle for the indefinite future with your baby, and like Amanda said, that's, you want them to be getting more sleep. So what are some things that Stephanie can do then to try and get longer naps out of her little one?
So I think probably the main reason is that the baby is actually overtired and stuck in an overtired sleep cycle pattern, because the sleeps are only 30 minutes, which is actually a little bit shorter than a full sort of sleep cycle anyway. So something is waking the baby before even finishing off that last little bit of light sleep. I would say that either the baby is overtired or they're sleeping in a really bright room, and that they're not getting the deep sleep and getting into a deep sleep that the baby could be having. It could be that they're hungry. It could be that they've got a sleep association, that they've been rocked or fed to sleep and they're waking because when they come into the lighter part of their sleep, because they're not being rocked or fed anymore, and they're waking up. What else do you think could be?
Yeah, I agree with sleep environment.
White noise, I guess.
White noise, yeah, and self-settling. So
Swaddles.
so some things that you could potentially work on for Stephanie, and also if anybody else is in this boat, which I think a lot of people will be. It's a very common sleep complaint that we hear, is looking at getting really age-appropriate awake times. And sometimes it actually means making the awake times longer, sometimes it means making them slightly shorter than what your baby is currently doing. Looking at their sleep environment, so ensuring their room is really dark for naps as well as nights, using white noise, swaddle if appropriate, nothing stimulating in their room like a night light or musical toys. And then you would be looking at generally working on some kind of self-settling, so that you're weaning your baby away from needing to be rocked or fed or cuddled to sleep, because that will help them consolidate those sleep cycles a lot better and hopefully nap for a bit longer. So what you'd be wanting to see nap-wise in a baby this age is a slightly shorter morning nap, sort of maybe 45 minutes, then a big nice lunchtime sleep of a couple of hours across the middle of the day, and then a shorter late afternoon sleep as well is sort of the ideal.
And then a really good, by 4 months they should be sleeping a really good long period at night time, maybe 1 feed or 2 feeds maybe max, and then sleeping through, not waking every 2 hours. If they're waking every 2 hours, they're not waking for hunger. they're waking for some other reason. So
and we always say that sorting out the daytime naps and doing all of these things that we just talked about in the day will definitely positively influence that night sleep. So
good luck, Stephanie.
All right, Rachel asks, what's a good time for a nap when your baby drops down to one nap after they turn 1? I'm worried about her becoming overtired if I keep her up for too long. So what's the good time for a nap, for that one nap?
Once your baby is dropping down to one nap, you want to have that nap in as close to the middle of their day as possible, because otherwise they will want to have a sleep in the morning. If they do go to sleep though, then they can sleep for their whole sleep period in the morning, and then you've got a really long time from when they wake of that morning sleep until nighttime. And that can cause overtiredness going into the night, which can affect the nighttime. It can affect how they settle. It can affect make them wake early in the morning, which can exacerbate the daytime. So aim for as close to, push them through when they're transitioning as close to the middle of the day. Another good thing to sort of do is have lunch before they have a nap to make sure they've got a nice full tummy. It also keeps them awake and keeps them doing something to then have a good rest and digest in the middle part of the day, which is what humans do. And it coincides with the natural dip in energy, and middle of the day, then you get through to the evening with a nice decent period of sleep and nicely into nighttime.
And this is like this transition down to one nap is a really tricky one, and it can take quite a while for your little one to get used to it and adapt to the new pattern. So it's transitional. Like, you don't just suddenly one day go, oh yeah, you're going to bed at midday and that's it. You might need to pull that nap a tiny bit earlier for a couple of days, and just every few days start pushing it 15 minutes later until it's happening across the middle of the day. And the other thing too is, don't be scared to bring bedtime earlier, especially during that transition, because your little one will be a bit more tired than normal, especially if the nap happens a little bit earlier in the day. So you know, don't be scared to, I think a lot of people are scared to bring bedtime earlier because they think it will mean wake up time in the morning is earlier, but if you're bringing bedtime earlier to avoid overtiredness, then you're counteracting the early morning wake caused by overtiredness. So,
and also don't be scared to put back a morning nap, a shorter morning nap every couple of days or once a week, or if you're traveling, then do a morning nap and then have the longer nap a little bit later, so that then your baby can either catch up or you know, they might be tired from traveling or the holiday season or whatever. So don't be scared to bring back a morning nap every now and again, because your baby will probably need it in that transition period.
All right, the next question is from Alex. She says, my almost 10-month-old seems to only want to have one nap during the day. For example, if she slept in the morning, she'll likely not be able to settle for the afternoon, and vice versa. Is that normal and okay? 10-month-old.
10-month-old still needs 2 naps a day, no matter what. I would probably look at the morning nap. If the morning nap is too long, your baby's not going to want to sleep in the afternoon. So cut down the morning nap to be a shorter morning nap. Or the other thing is, you might be letting them sleep too late in the morning, which will then mean that they won't want to have
2 naps a day.
2 naps a day. You know, if you're working on letting them sleep till 8 and then trying to put them down at 6 or 7, then at night, then they've kind of put their other nap at the night time instead. So to get those 2 naps back in, you might need to wake them at 7 to get another nap in, or get 2 naps back in.
But they definitely need 2 naps at that age. And cumulatively, you're looking at least 2.5 hours total sleep across the day, spread across those 2 naps. So really at 10 months, what we would be recommending is, like Amanda said, quite a short morning nap, because that's the nap that you gently wean them off when they are transitioning down to that one nap after about 12-13 months old. So I mean, you could even do half an hour, almost 20 minutes at 10 months old, and it's just to tide them over until a longer lunchtime sleep. So, but they do still need those 2 naps. And I mean, yeah, so Alex, if you're doing a really long morning sleep with your 10-month-old baby, that is definitely the reason they're not wanting to nap later in the day. So I would trim back that morning sleep quite substantially. Work on an awake window of sort of 2.5 to 3 hours in between and go from there.
Good luck, Alex.
Louise asks, any tips on how to get a nearly 10-month-old baby to sleep longer than 30 to 45 minutes at each nap time? So they're just sleeping for that one sleep cycle we were talking about earlier.
At 10 months, I would look at the time when you're putting your baby down to bed. You could be actually putting them down too early because that was kind of what you were used to when they were 6 months old or 5 months old, and now they are probably still going to sleep if their wake time's too short, but having a quick cat nap rather than an actual sleep.
They're just not tired enough if they haven't been awake long enough.
Yeah. So I would look at the awake time for the first nap and then the second nap of the day. And also I would look at self-settling and make sure that it's crucial by this age that the baby is going to sleep without you needing to rock or feed or get them, without you needing to get them to sleep in some way, because if they are waking after that 20 to 30 minute period, they are waking because something potentially is different. They've gone to sleep by being rocked or held and cuddled, and they're waking up in their lighter part of their sleep cycle because they're not being rocked or cuddled or fed to sleep anymore. So something is different. Another thing, at 10 months old, I would look at their environment, make sure the room is really dark during the day so that they get melatonin into their bloodstream, and so that it helps them stay asleep for a much longer period of sleep than that 20 to 30 minutes. It's fine for the first nap at that age, but the second nap, or vice versa, it's fine for one of the two naps, but one of those two naps needs to be a good, decent hour and a half, 2 hour sleep.
So if we're talking about awake windows, like I mentioned in the previous question, you're probably looking at around 2.5 to 3 hours at this age of being awake between naps. So if you're trying to put your little one down earlier than 2.5 hours, then they're just not tired enough really to have a decent nap. So yeah, work on the awake times, the sleep environment, and self-settling. Our last question is from Hayley, and she's asking about her newborn at 5 weeks old. Should we be setting structured naps or just let them sleep when they're tired? The $1 million question.
I guess it depends on how you're going yourself and how your baby is going. If they're tired and grumpy and they aren't getting the sleep that they need, then you need to look at what they're doing during the day. That will help the night time. If they're sleeping really well during the day and the night, then you're probably into a good natural routine anyway, and what the baby is sort of naturally done will be similar to what a structured routine will be anyway. But more often than not, the baby might be tired and grumpy during their awake period, so I would look at what they're doing. And you don't have to do a structured, strict routine to get your baby to sleep well during the day and night.
So yeah, at this age, what the focus is on, like Amanda said, is not necessarily having set and structured nap times, but more getting the awake periods more age appropriate. And in the first 12 weeks, a baby's awake periods are slightly different, literally week on week. As your baby grows, and they grow so rapidly at this age, they're needing more and more and more awake time between naps. And I think the trap a lot of people fall into and start falling into at about this age is thinking that their baby is still brand new. And so they're using the old 45 minutes to an hour awake time. That is a bit of bad advice that floats around out there. And they're putting their baby to sleep, and the baby's either not settling and won't go to sleep no matter what they do, or they're settling to sleep but only sleeping for a short amount of time. So what you need to be doing is getting the really age appropriate awake windows in this newborn phase, and that is the best thing you can do. And once you work that out and get that right, your baby should, in theory, go to sleep quite easily, and certainly at 5 weeks be able to have quite decent naps as well. So not a structured day, a strict structured day, but having some kind of consistency to your day as well is going to help your baby, and it's probably going to help you too to know what's coming next in your day, so you can plan things, you can feel more confident knowing, okay, my baby's been awake for an hour and a half, 2 hours, she's crying, which means she's definitely tired now. The other thing we have to be careful of at this age too is that tired signs can be a little bit misleading, and some babies won't show. My own children never showed any tired signs at all really until it was too late. Some babies will almost seem tired just about the entire time they're awake, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're tired enough to have a proper sleep or to nap for very long at all. Then
on the other side, they can also cry, and it not always mean that they're hungry as well. You know, some parents get trapped into the, oh, my baby is crying so they must be hungry, but in actual fact they're tired and they're crying because they need to go to sleep. So make sure that you are sort of, I guess
if you've got a bit of a predictable pattern,
that's when you know you're able to tell a bit more with your baby as to if they're tired or if they're hungry, if they, you know, if they've got wind, so you're able to sort of decode what their cries are. I guess so that's where a nap routine or having some more structure to your day can help you figure those things out.
So Hayley, if you are struggling at 5 weeks with your child, if you feel like that you want to put them in some kind of pattern to their day, then it can absolutely be done quite easily at that age, and it doesn't have to be strict and regimented. If you're happy with how things are the way they are, then that's also fine. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And if you don't feel like there's anything that you want to be looking at to improve with your little one's sleep, then that's totally fine. Just keep cruising along as you're doing. So to sum up, naps are really, really important for your little one, and realistically your little one is going to be napping in some way, shape or form until they're at least around 3 years old. So it's quite important for you to work with them on establishing some really good age-appropriate naps. If you need a hand getting any of that nap structure happening, figuring out what the best awake time is for your baby's age, or working on some gradual self-settling methods with your little ones, please check out our sleep programs by visiting our website. We'll link all of that in our description box below, because we can certainly help get naps on track for your little one.
And remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Thanks for watching.